Mortal Kombat vs. DC has always been an odd idea for a video game, coming out of the death throes of Midway as they tried to make money any way they could before finally closing for good in 2010. Considering what was likely a constrained budget at a time when gaming budgets began to balloon as a result of the HD gaming trends of the 7th generation, vs. DC likely came out the best way it could have. That being said, it is clear that something went wrong with the development of this game. The hit detection in the gameplay system is outright broken at times, making some of the combo challenges extremely contingent on luck in order to complete, and the endings are incredibly short. Endings have never been that long in this series, but some of these are a handful of seconds long, and what's worse than them actually being short is that they feel short too, making most of the endings in this game feel extremely lackluster. You're watching Rayl Deal Games, and in this video, I'll be ranking all of the endings in Mortal Kombat vs. DC from worst to best. I won't have something to say about every ending in the game, so I won't waste your time saying things just to fill space whenever that happens. Most of these endings aren't that great either, meaning I won't have a ton of positive things to say about many of the endings in this game. With all of that established, let's dive right in. Number 22.
Though the combat rage completely disappeared once Dark Khan was defeated, it drove Kano irreversibly mad. Turning on friend and foe alike, he became an outcast. Kano's appearance changed as well. He has painted his face to further express his seething anger. Alone in the depths of insanity, Kano endlessly repeats, "Death to Shang Tsung! Death to Shang Tsung! Death to Shang Tsung!"
Most of the endings in this game create these reflective relationships between characters on the MK cast and the DC cast. If done a few times sparingly, this would have been an interesting choice for the endings, much in the same way the endings for Cobra and Kira work in Armageddon, where each of their endings reflects the other in some way. Kano becoming an MK version of the Joker and becoming bent out of shape trying to kill Shang Tsung is just an odd plot point that doesn't make a lot of sense even with the combat rage taken into account. Number 21.
As a result of Liu Kang's aura attunement, the Flash discovered he had retained a psychic bond with the warrior. The two agreed to warn each other of any cross-universal breaches. It wasn't long until Liu Kang appeared before the Flash, warning him of an impending attack by the sorcerer Quan Chi.
There's nothing necessarily egregiously wrong about this ending, but the stop-start nature of the voice lines is really odd, and it hurts the overall value of the ending. It sounds like the ending was cut together by an intern, and that quality is far below what I expect out of MK endings. Number 20.
Having been infused with the power of magic during her teleportation to the alternate universe, Catwoman found that she could transform at will into a Black Panther. Her increased strength and agility made her a cat that would never again be caged.
Number 19.
Fighting alongside the forces of light during the world merge crisis, Sub-Zero came to a realization. He was no longer the assassin he had been, nor was he comfortable among the self-proclaimed defenders of Earthrealm. Inspired by one of the invaders, Sub-Zero decided he would work for the good of the realm, but on his own terms. He would be a mostly solitary figure, blending in with the dark and the cold. Sub-Zero left the Lin Kuei and donned a new costume befitting this new endeavor. But the Lin Kuei do not tolerate desertion, as he will soon discover.
Number 18.
Deathstroke emerged from the inter-universal conflict both wiser and more cautious. Assassins from another universe would be unwanted competition. To maintain superiority, Deathstroke created a band of powerful assassins outfitted in his image. He now serves as Grand Master of this fearsome Deathstrike clan.
Number 17.
Concerned that other worlds might once again invade Earth, Batman created an autonomous global security system to monitor any temporal breaches. His system, OMAC, Outer World Monitor and Auto-Containment, is designed to detect and trap invaders from alternate universes. OMAC has already discovered a breach in Metropolis.
Considering the new ownership of Warner Bros., I wonder if the line at the end regarding there being a breach in Metropolis was either the hint at a vs. DC sequel that was never made because of how unsuccessful this game ended up being, or a subtle suggestion at the possibility of a DC fighting game. The main injustice of this ending is how it is designed more as a cliffhanger than a properly defined ending in its own right. This used to be a trend in MK games during the second and third entries, and I wish that's where the trend would have stayed. Now obviously I know MK endings reference possible futures all the time, but there's just something different about this one that feels more like the MK2 and 3 era of endings, where it would say the characters would show up in the third or fourth tournament. Number 16.
During the World Merge Crisis, a member of the Green Lantern Corps was killed. At the moment of his death, his power ring traveled to Sonya, taking her as its new master. When the worlds were once again separated, the ring stayed with her. Now she has the ultimate weapon, but only one charge. She must use the ring sparingly until she can find a way to replenish its power.
Number 15.
In order to regain control of his power, Captain Marvel was guided by the wizard Shazam through a focusing ritual. At its apex, Captain Marvel unexpectedly visited a strange ethereal world, finding himself face to face with godlike beings calling themselves the Elder Gods. Now able to tap into these gods' powers, Captain Marvel has new abilities he is only just beginning to master.
Number 14.
Through intense study, Raiden was able to unlock the secrets of the Rock of Eternity and determine its function. He decided to emulate it and create a Captain Marvel of Earthrealm. Raiden infused Liu Kang with his own power as well as the abilities of his fellow gods Argus, Fujin, and others. In order to transform himself into a being of unstoppable power, Liu Kang need only shout, "Mortal Kombat."
This is kind of a lame ending in a lot of ways. I would have preferred the writers being more subtle with the way they made MK characters become alternate versions of the DC heroes and villains. And it's not like the concept of Liu Kang becoming a god is a new one. His ending in Armageddon is literally that, and he would become Fire God Liu Kang in the second and third timelines of MK. At least this ending provides a canonical reason for the theme song to start with the iconic Mortal Kombat yell. Number 13.
As the interdimensional conflict ended, Raiden returned to Earthrealm, only to discover that exposure to his homeworld's sun weakened him greatly. The sorcerer Quan Chi offered Raiden a jade-colored stone that would replenish his power in return for his sworn allegiance. Where Quan Chi acquired this stone is a mystery. Raiden must now decide between servitude to an evil sorcerer or mortality.
There's no way Raiden picks anything other than mortality here. I mean, he chose to relinquish his status as Elder God just so that he could fight Quan Chi and Shang Tsung during the events of Deadly Alliance, so there's no way he would take this deal. If this Raiden were instead the version from MK9, there's an argument as to why Raiden would take this deal, especially since he tried to make a deal with Quan Chi in that game's plot anyway. Versus DC is just an odd game for quandaries like this, because it's canon without really being canon, if that makes sense. MK alludes to the possibility that Versus DC is one of the other timelines that the MK series went through before the NRS continuity. Since that wasn't even a dream of a thought yet though, I'm erring on the idea that the writers had the classic Raiden in mind for this game, making the implications of this ending really a non-choice for him. Number 12.
As the worlds returned to normal, the combat rage dissipated in its victims, except the Tarkatans. Through the rage, the savage outworld race has descended to an even greater level of bloodlust. Marking their foreheads with the blood of their enemies, they now storm throughout the realms, dominating all.
The Tarkatans maintaining the bloodlust from the rage might have been an okay premise for an ending if the story mode for Versus DC was undeniably fantastic. As it stands, this ending really feels like something the writers came up with because they couldn't think of anything else for Baraka to do, despite the fact he's used his bloodlust to create better outcomes for himself in the other entries in the franchise. Number 11.
Impressed with Captain Marvel's fighting ability, but angered by his defeat at the hero's hands, Shang Tsung sought to create a race of super warriors. They would have Captain Marvel's abilities, but would be a perversion of the hero's image. Through sorcery, he combined blood from a torn piece of Captain Marvel's cape with the flesh of a Tarkatan corpse. Never before had his flesh pits echoed with the roar of such a monstrosity. With an army of super Tarkatans, Shang Tsung will be invincible.
Number 10.
Returning to Themyscira, Wonder Woman learned that strange relics had been found scattered across the island. A sword, a shield, and a golden amulet, all pulsing with energy. Compelled to equip herself with the items, she was infused with powers beyond those bestowed upon her by the Greek gods. She and her Amazons are now unstoppable as they fight for the preservation of Earth.
There are a few elements of this ending that are kinda cool. The sword is Ashra's crisp blade, or at least I think that's what that's supposed to be, and I particularly like the way the Deadly Alliance game logo is affixed to that shield. Number 9.
Though Dark Khan was defeated, his consciousness lived on. The Dark Lord's power and maliciousness found the perfect host in the body of the wrathful Scorpion. In the midst of his agony, Scorpion knew that he would soon be the most powerful creature in the universe, if he survived the transformation.
Number 8.
Using data stolen from the Special Forces, Lex Luthor constructed his own portal and breached the barrier that separated the two universes. There he encountered the sorcerer Quan Chi. Their combined power, intelligence, and near omnipresence will be unstoppable. Both worlds will fall prey to this deadly alliance.
Lex Luthor and Quan Chi becoming a Deadly Alliance makes less lore sense than Shang Tsung and Quan Chi becoming one does, but I appreciate the illusion the writers were making here. This team feels like a nice combo of MK and DC, making it one of the better cases of that from this entire game. Number 7.
As the worlds separated, the Joker discovered he had retained his new powers. With them, he soon controlled all of Gotham, proclaiming himself Mayor Joker. Under his rule, the city devolved into chaos. He now holds a tournament in which contestants are forced to fight to the death for his amusement. The winner will face off against the Joker himself.
Number 6.
Badly injured in the melee with the otherworldly invaders, Jax knew he must enhance his cybernetics to save his own life. He underwent massive anatomical restructuring, replacing most of his body with mechanized, fully armored versions. Jax is now more powerful than ever, but at the cost of his humanity.
Considering who Jax is as a character, him doing this is entirely within the realm of possibility. Jax is the exact type of guy who would sacrifice his humanity, both body and soul, so that he could protect the people he loves better. Number 5.
On a distant planet, a huge pyramid unexpectedly rose from beneath the ground. Its origin was unknown, but it seemed to emanate energy similar to what Batman detected from the invading universe. Green Lantern's nemesis, Sinestro, has learned of the pyramid's existence and is eager to acquire whatever secret it might contain. Hal Jordan knows only that its energy is dangerous, and that the Green Lantern Corps must stop the Sinestro Corps at any cost.
Yeah, that's the Temple of Argus right there, and it's likely Blaze is there too. Someone like Sinestro gaining the godlike power of Blaze would be particularly bad indeed. Number 4.
Imprisoned in the Netherrealm, Darkseid was left vulnerable. Shang Tsung attempted to steal Darkseid's soul, a source of immense power. In the midst of the magical assault, however, Darkseid reversed the soul drain, reducing Shang Tsung to a withered old man. Empowered by Shang Tsung's magic, Darkseid broke free of his bonds. Shang Tsung hastily pledged allegiance to Darkseid in an attempt to spare his own life.
It's really interesting how Darkseid interacts with the withering effects of the Netherrealm. Not native to the MK universe, it doesn't negatively affect him the way it does other powerful MK characters, such as Raiden. And I theorize this is because his power is not magical in nature. The Netherrealm saps out magical power in most instances, and Darkseid being able to flip the script on Shang Tsung also makes a sort of sense too. Once free from the Netherrealm, Darkseid would definitely be able to conquer the MK realms for sure, and he would likely transform the Netherrealm itself into a new version of Apocalypse. Number 3.
With no base of operations after their devastating losses in Outworld, Kitana sought asylum in Earthrealm for her surviving Edenian resistance fighters. Raiden granted them Shang Tsung's abandoned island, where they would remain hidden from mortal eyes. Kitana and her warriors remade the former site of the Mortal Kombat tournament into a bastion of beauty and light. To honor the god of Edenia, they renamed their new home Argus Island.
Kitana transitions well into the role of MK's Wonder Woman, and everything about this ending is in perfect line with Kitana's characterizations. I particularly like seeing the character designs for Jade and Melina in the background, two characters that were left off the roster for Vs. DC. Something cool about Vs. DC is the way the MK characters adopted elements of superhero costume designs, and I really dig Melina and Jade's concept art in this ending. Number 2.
After his encounter with the invaders and their magical powers, Superman knew he was vulnerable to similar assaults in the future. With the aid of the wizard Shazam, he applied ancient Kryptonian lore to the creation of a new costume, giving him resistance to magic. Attacks by sorcerers and demons now have no effect on the Man of Steel.
This is like the biggest buff Superman could possibly have gotten, as magic is like one of his only 2 or 3 weaknesses. Eliminating that makes him even more borderline unstoppable within the rules of his own universe. Number 1.
Defeated, Shao Kahn was imprisoned in the Phantom Zone, used for holding dangerous Kryptonian villains because of its ability to render them powerless. Possibly due to the magical nature of his strength, however, the Phantom Zone had the opposite effect on Shao Kahn. Instead of neutralizing him, it revitalized the Emperor, allowing him to break free. With him are untold numbers of criminals released from millennia of imprisonment. Grateful, they have sworn allegiance to Shao Kahn and now follow him on his quest to conquer the universes.
This is a solid ending for Shao Kahn. Getting trapped in the Phantom Zone is likely what would happen to him in this game, and neither the DC heroes or the MK combatants would ever have been able to predict what effect the Phantom Zone would have on him. A juiced up Shao Kahn, backed by thousands of superpowered villains, taking over all of the multiverses is the perfect blend between Shao Kahn as he has always behaved in the MK universe and his new setting in the DC multiverse. And that's the video, my guys. What's your favorite ending in Mortal Kombat vs. DC? Let me know in the comment section below, and while you're there, smash that like button, subscribe, and ring that notification bell if you'd like to see more Rayl Deal Gaming videos like this in the future. And if you have a moment right now, consider checking out one of my videos on the screen. Regardless of what you choose to do, have an awesome day, gamers.